Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. We don't need people telling us. There's already a tomato war going on.
We put what in gumbo? What did we just put in gumbo?
I didn't say.
If anybody tells me that they don't eat MSG, I guarantee you they eat one of the foods that has naturally occurring MSG in it.
For sure.
There's been a lot of talk about the health side effects of MSG. That's a big topic, and I guess we can get into that now.
So what you're saying is, whenever you go to a Chinese buffet and you leave with your head hurting, it's not the MSG, it's because your ass was greedy.
Yeah, it's because you were pounding that sweet and sour chicken with that nuclear red sauce like it was candy.
Got it.
How does that little song go now? Big back, big back, big.
Why did the Chinese and Asian restaurants get all the flack when all the other restaurants using that shit too?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Y'all want to know what foods have naturally occurring MSG in it?
What's that?
Beans, greens, tomatoes, potatoes, all, you name it. The MSG isn't what have my head hurting later on and why I feel so full and all of that stuff. It's because my ass was greedy. I understand that.
Yeah.
You need to understand that too. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. It's
right.
It's not bad in small concentrations.
Right.
It's just a flavor enhancer.
That's the problem. Small concentration.
I mean, but
you don't need to eat a whole steak that's been like powdered sugar and MSG.
The boy turned Barry White over here. Darling, I
can't get enough of your pie, baby.
Can't get enough of your pie, baby. That might be something else.
Stirring the pot after dark.
Where Rusty when you need him?
Right. Hello and welcome to Stirring the Pod podcast, a podcast all about discussing controversial food subjects, historical aspects of food, and pretty much everything else food and cooking related. Let me start by introducing my co-hosts. First up, we have Mr. Barbecue Brand, our resident pitmaster and a past guest on Food Network's Barbecue USA. Welcome, Barbecue Brand.
What it do? I am Barbecue. Nice to be back for another week of some hot heat.
Next up, we have Mr. Brandon D., our food science nerd and Southern food expert. Welcome, Brandon D.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. We got an exciting show for y'all today.
I am KCP, your host and cookie queen. Tonight's topic is all about something quite controversial, not only in the arena of Cajun cooking, but also in cuisines all over the world. What is this highly speculative ingredient? MSG. How y'all doing tonight?
Not to be confused with Madison Square Garden. We're talking about that monosodium glutamate.
That is correct. MSG, a much maligned, misunderstood ingredient. Personally, I love it. I love MSG.
So do I.
Yeah.
To answer your question, KCP, I'm actually doing pretty good tonight. I think I had some food earlier with some MSG in it.
And you feeling okay?
I'm feeling great, and it enhanced my flavors on my plate. Y'all should give it a try sometime.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you can't start discussing MSG without talking about umami.
Yep. I think that's a good place to start.
And umami is all about what MSG is about. That's what MSG introduces into food. And a lot of people think that MSG is a synthetic chemical. It's actually a naturally occurring ingredient that occurs in certain food items. I mean, a lot of things. It gives savory foods a much more savory flavor. It intensifies the savoriness of foods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's all about umami. That's what MSG is about. MSG is about umami. You add MSG or MSG-containing foods to dishes to bring them umami, such as mushrooms. Mushrooms are packed with MSG.
Really?
Yeah, mushrooms, especially shiitake mushrooms. Shiitake mushrooms have quite a bit of MSG in them, and it's naturally occurring. They also have other flavor-enhancing compounds that add flavor to foods. So that's why things with mushrooms tend to taste more savory. Example, adding mushrooms to beef makes beef taste beefier.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Umami is the perceived fifth taste, right?
Right.
And it just, I heard it explained before in the past as it makes savory foods hyper palatable. I thought that was a great way to explain that. It enhances flavors. It makes it really savory, good foods more palatable. It just makes it taste better.
It's when you taste something, you go, that's really good. That's the umami.
What is the background of the word umami? What is it?
It's a Japanese word, and I think it was used to describe the flavor that they get from dishes where they use kombu, which is dried seaweed, which contains MSG.
Mm-hmm. I think the word translates to umami translates to like essence of deliciousn's in Japanese or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just hyper palatable.
Oh, I had some umami today. Well, MSG, because I'm totally addicted to those seaweed snacks from Costco.
Seaweed definitely has MSG.
It's my salad.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, another thing has MSG is tomatoes. Tomatoes have MSG.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Fermented foods also have MSG. Fish sauce, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce.
Yep.
All have MSG in it. Anchovies.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee
your favorite.
Yeah.
Oh man, I do. Man, anchovy paste. It's a really great ingredient. When you cook with it, it smells fishy, but it does not taste fishy once you cook it down. Once you cook it down, all it adds is just savory elements to your dish. But actually, really enhance the flavor of any seafood or meat dish as well. I use it for gravies. I use it for I make a mushroom gravy that I use for when we do schnitzel, and it really enhances those flavors.
Ooh, man, that sounds good right now.
Oh yeah, Oktoberfest is coming soon.
Oh, right. That's right. Oh yes, I need to get my way.
I love the fall.
I love Oktoberfest.
I need to find my way to the DeQueers for this upcoming fall season.
The sausage platter keeps getting more ridiculous every year.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't you have a special ingredient for your curry ketchup?
Anchovy paste. Works big time.
I have some mustard that I might order some and send some to y'all. Some German mustard that is just absolutely, which I'm pretty sure there's got some MSG in there too.
Oh, probably, most likely.
It's so many foods. If anybody tells me that they don't eat MSG, I guarantee you that they eat one of the foods that has naturally occurring MSG in it.
For sure.
Onions have a small amount of MSG, naturally occurring MSG. Yeah. Tomato, like you said earlier, tomatoes, Parmesan cheese, like all of these different things have cheese, MSG.
Yeah. Yes, it's true.
So what food item do you guys think naturally has the highest occurring MSG, like naturally? Like without it being processed in any way.
It's probably the shiitake mushroom.
It's got to be shiitake.
Shiitake.
Without even really researching, it's got to be shiitake mushrooms.
I'm pretty sure shiitake is shiitake, since it's a non-processed food. I think Roquefort cheese might have more, but cheese is processed food. Yeah. The highest thing you can buy in MSG is actually Marmite or Vegemite. That actually has the highest level of MSG of any food product, naturally occurring food product, which is interesting because that's how they make. They actually make MSG. I believe they make it through a fermentation process using bacteria. So that's how it's made. It's a natural product. They'll take like some type of protein and they'll do like some. But it's a natural process. It's not a synthetic. It's not synthetic at all. It's made by bacteria. Or it's extracted from seaweed, from kelp.
Interesting. So is MSG known as kind of like a preservative in a way?
No, it's not a preservative. It's just a flavor enhancer.
Oh, okay.
And as actually, I believe the history of it was actually extracted by a Japanese biochemist called, you have his name somewhere right here, Kakune Ikeda. If I'm pronouncing that right,
Bless
probably
you.
not. Yeah, probably not.
For the second time.
But he was actually trying to replicate the flavor of kombu from dashi. And what he did was they isolated MSG. And what happens is the cool thing about MSG is they can actually make crystallize it. So they can sell it as a powder. So that's why. So he actually patented the process and sold MSG, named it MSG. And I believe it's called Engine-Moto is the brand. Everybody, if you know MSG brands, you've probably seen that one. And that's where it comes from. But there's been a lot now. There's been a lot of talk about the health side effects of MSG. That's a big topic, and I guess we can get into that now.
Well,
people say it'll give them headaches. People say it'll make them flush. People make us say them sweat. It was called Chinese buffet syndrome. Some weird thing about this. Now, I'm also going to ask people this. What do people do when they go to a giant Chinese buffet? They typically overeat. What are they eating? Let's be honest. Restaurant food in the United States is not health food.
No.
Restaurant Chinese food usually has a lot of sodium, not monosodium glutamate, sodium, and a lot of carbs. So when you overeat a bunch of carbs and a bunch of this stuff and a bunch of fat, you're probably going to make yourself feel pretty bad. And I'm sure that nice, hot, flush, and headache feeling are probably from you spiking the crap out of your blood sugar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or is it from a tiny little bit of MSG or a buttload of salt and carbs? In fact, your question.
So what you're saying is, whenever you go to a Chinese buffet and you leave with your head hurting, it's not the MSG. It's because your ass was greedy.
Yeah, it's because you were pounding that sweet and sour chicken with that nuclear red sauce like it was candy.
Got it.
No,
Probably.
you was hungry.
that number 3 helping of orange chicken probably wasn't doing you any good.
No, you should have stopped.
Them little
Just
greasy
saying,
shrimp toast too.
You needed 3 servings of orange chicken? I don't think so. Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie. In college days, we used to go to the Chinese buffet and we used to wreck shop. You know, the goal was to be their zero profit customer.
What was the name of it?
Y'all make money off the old other people, not us. We're killing it, man. But
what was the name of that place?
Golden Walk.
Golden Walk.
That was next to Graham Central Station.
Sure was.
But
they just changed names. It's still there. They just changed names. It's called the King Buffet now.
I did not know that.
Hey, listen, I'm not shaming nobody that likes the Chinese buffet because I still like it.
Yeah.
I still like it. I go there. I like to go get me a to-go plate because I like that salt and pepper chicken, and then I get the lo mein on one side, and then I get the rice on the other side, and then I give me some of the little coconut shrimp on the little small tray, you know. But you know, the MSG isn't what have my head hurting later on, and why I feel so full and all of that stuff. It's because my ass was greedy. I understand that. You need to understand that too. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all.
And there's been a lot of studies into MSG. No study has linked MSG to any serious health effects. None. That's not true. Now, I'm not going to say if you feel like MSG affects you poorly and you can't have it, and if you feel that way, don't eat it. But, you know, when you eat those mushrooms, they have MSG in them too.
Yeah. Well, maybe not eat it in like a concentrated, you know, maybe just in a natural, unprocessed kind of.
Well, I mean, and that's a good thing to talk about. Is MSG, when I'm talking about MSG, the powdered form, the pure form of MSG, is it necessary to use more than what's required? It's actually using too much MSG is actually diminishing returns. It's not going to make it any better.
Very much so.
So I have a question. I was told many years ago by someone that worked at a very popular restaurant in the Lafayette area that they coat their steaks in MSG, like almost like a fry batter. Like they just coat it in MSG. Like they have a big bucket, a big container of MSG, and they just powder them steaks up before throwing it on the grill or whatever. What is the point of that?
That actually serves no point at all.
Yeah, I don't understand. To me, that would make you feel bad too.
It probably. I mean, I'm not going to doubt it. That's more MSG than you should.
Right.
I think that's more than you need.
So I want to give a different perspective on this because I'm thinking about it. And so we started off talking about the Chinese restaurants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to come full circle with this because we can talk about restaurants in general, but let's start off with the Chinese restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk through the mall and you walk through the food court, what are they doing? what happens? What does that process look like? You walking through the food court on the food side.
They're trying to give you samples.
They're trying to give you samples, right? Who is trying to give you samples?
The owners, the restaurant, the people who work in the restaurant.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially a lot of Chinese little buffet type places, right?
That's the only ones.
So yeah, pretty much. So think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna give credit to my buddy Jason Pettis because he mentioned this. I don't know if this came from him or if he heard this from somebody, but when you talk about MSG and other forms of umami, which we'll probably get into in a little bit, it makes things taste So if something tastes, a certain way, it will make it taste, salty-er or, more flavorful, meatier. Exactly. Mm-hmm. It makes things taste So you're trying to pump flavor, right? It's what you're using. You're trying to give a punch of flavor when you're using MSG. If you're in a restaurant business and you're trying to get ahead of the business, if you're trying to get more of the market share, why wouldn't you try to make your food taste more than the next person or your competition? Yeah. So it makes perfect sense. It's a flavor enhancer. It's not bad. It's not bad in small concentrations. Right. It's just a flavor enhancer.
That's the problem. Small concentration.
I mean, but
you don't need to eat a whole steak that's been like powdered sugar and MSG.
No. And I mean, you maybe need like for a steak, 1/8 of a teaspoon would probably be enough.
Yeah.
It's a very small amount. You don't need that much. It doesn't need that much MSG. There's no reason to do it. It's diminishing returns. It's not helping. It's not making anything
to me that says that whatever you're putting it, let's say that steak is not high quality at all, that you're just trying to make it taste higher quality.
Probably.
Yeah.
Steak is a tricky thing. Like, like when you're buying steak for a restaurant, the people who pay top dollar for steak get the best ones. So I mean the restaurants that buy the most steak get the top pick of the litter. And everybody else gets whatever was left over. Mm-hmm. Like when you're the restaurant that buys a little bit of steak, you're picking what's already been picked through by the bigger guys who buy a lot of steak.
Mm-hmm.
If you use too much MSG, it will make your food saltier. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be very careful with how salty you want your dish to be if you're using MSG. So that's where the diminishing returns comes in at too. Is like we're using too much of that, it's just going to be too salty. So in a way, I can kind of see using a little bit more on steak because if you tone back your other salt, then your MSG is kind of acting as that salt, which is also used as kind of like a flavor enhancer as well. So I mean, I get it a little bit, but especially me being in the competition barbecue world, I mean that is a staple.
Right.
And you're not going to walk into anybody's trailer and not see some form of MSG in there.
Right.
Because we're trying to punch flavor.
Right. And the thing is with your competition barbecue.
In one bite.
Exactly. Right. You want to get the best one bite possible. Small quantities.
Yep.
I understand it. In that aspect, totally understand it. Like you said, those little people in the mall, they want you to have the best bite possible. So you're like, let me go buy like 5 pounds of chicken teriyaki.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to feel like
this orange chicken tastes real good today for some reason.
Right. But it's not going to taste as good when you go get it from the stall.
No,
it's never as good.
And think of something else about American Chinese food that you always notice. American Chinese food has a very like the smell is very intense, right, of American Chinese food. MSG works with smells to make food more intense. That's part of the thing. That's part of its action. So when you have something that's real, you got a lot of onion, you got a lot of garlic, you got soy sauce, what already has MSG. You got all these things going on, and that MSG hits your palate, man. It really bumps up the flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's making my mouth water right now.
Hey, call me. Look, the American Chinese food is like one of my guilty pleasures. I love American Chinese food, man. I'm sorry if you get a place that does. There's some places that do not great ones, but there's some places that do really good stuff, man, and it's really well balanced. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Call me whatever. Mexico will call you a gringo. I don't know what Chinese people call you, but something whatever.
Oh Lord.
Hey, they loving our money. They know
exactly.
Yeah.
They making it work.
I mean, I can't deny it. Even though many times I've had American Chinese food and overdone it.
No, everybody has.
You still like, that was
trying to get your money's worth. Get your money's worth. I could be good right now, but you know what? I paid for all of this,
right?
So I'm gonna at least try to eat a little bit more.
I'm economical, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I knew a guy in college. He would go to that Chinese buffet next to Graham Central Station, and he thought he was beating the system. He would just get all the sushi to go. I'm like, you still. I don't know if this is. I mean, you're eating all rice. It's basically like just fancy rice that you're getting mixed with some.
Yeah,
that was not good sushi.
Chinese restaurants don't have good sushi in there. I mean, not the ones I've been to anyway. I mean, y'all probably got some better places in Houston, maybe, but no. I miss Lotus Garden. We used to have Lotus Garden here in Lafayette. They closed.
Was that Congress and Ambassador?
Yes.
By Albertsons?
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that place.
Because you used to be able to, let me tell you how they used to do. Like you could go get your plate off the buffet. And actually, no, this is what you do. You walk up and then they had the raw bar where you can get your beef and your chicken and your shrimp and your onions and your bell peppers and your sauce and all of that. You put it on a plate and you give it to the little man behind the window. And then he made you a plate of food while you got your plate of food from the buffet. You sat down and then they brought you your other plate of food and then you ate that and then you went back to the buffet and got your third plate of food.
Damn.
Yeah, see, that was that MSG. George Foreman, you right in the...
Yeah.
How did that little song go now? Big back, big back, big...
Oh, man.
That's what that is.
I tell you what, man, that's a story to make a fat boy smile, dude. That's just some fat boy shit right there.
That's straight up fat boy shit.
Oh man, I'll tell you, but like, I mean, you have to ask. The crazy thing about this is, why did the Chinese and Asian restaurants get all the flack when all the other restaurants using that shit too?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. I'm not going to reveal that restaurant in Lafayette, but this is a very well-known restaurant that is not a chain, that is a staple in Lafayette that was doing that to the steaks.
I know all those barbecue restaurants using MSG.
They are.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
They are, because they're cooking in bulk. Right, they're trying to give you the best product possible with cooking for the masses. They got to punch their flavor. Somehow they can't.
Yeah. They don't have the time.
Yeah, they can't tend to a brisket the way that they would at home. So they got to make sure things are. Yeah.
No.
Come on now.
So yeah, I think it's unfair that the Chinese restaurants got all the flack.
I agree.
It's like, but the flack's not deserved, because for most people, MSG is a harmless ingredient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true.
Like we said, natural occurring, right? It's in a whole lot. You know what MSG is in? Y'all want to know what foods have naturally occurring MSG in it?
What's that?
Beans, greens, tomatoes, potatoes, all, you name it. Everything.
All those things have MSG.
All the things. That's why after Thanksgiving dinner, you're like,
yeah.
I feel big back today.
Hey, but look. Yeah, everybody knows like, tomato paste is actually a really great source of naturally occurring MSG because most of the MSG in the tomato is in the skin, and a tomato paste is made from the whole tomato. There's no part taken out, right? It's all the tomato, skin, everything.
Right.
So tomato paste is actually really good for an MSG punch in a dish. That's why you use it.
It is a great.
Yeah.
Tomato paste it's such a wildly different ingredient than canned tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
it's
concentrated.
It's miles apart. When you cook tomato paste down, like the best way to get tomato paste is to actually fry it down and kind of just kill that raw edge on it. I mean, it just turns into savoriness. That's all it does. It doesn't really turn into a real, unless you're using a whole lot of tomato paste. If you're just using a little bit, it's really hard to taste it because all it does is add savory flavor and some sugar to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And shout out to whoever decided to put tomato paste in a tube because God bless you.
Great. Awesome.
God bless you.
I love tomato paste.
That is one of the greatest. That's better than sliced bread to me.
No, it's a great invention.
Yeah, you don't have to open that little bitty can, and then what you're gonna do? Because you never
don't
use the whole
it
thing.
all. You never
and you
use
just
it.
put it in the fridge with some tinfoil to the top, and then it gets pushed to the back, and then it's all crusty when you find it. Yeah.
No, I love tomato paste in the too.
That's real life right there. You just explained some real life right there.
Everybody's been there.
Everybody that cooks understood what you just said just now.
Because, most of the time I'm using like a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste.
Yeah, you don't need too much.
Yeah.
So,
But this brings up a thing. Like, I like MSG a lot. I rarely in my cooking use the powdered form of it. I just have the natural. I have a tomato paste. I have anchovy paste. I have soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, fish sauce, and I have what else, man?
Mushroom powder.
Shiitake
mushroom powder. Yeah.
I don't need it.
Ooh, I love that stuff.
This is the craziest part is the actual. In my opinion, I think the natural forms of the natural MSG containing foods actually are more potent than the pure version of it. I think they give more flavor. I think they give a more interesting flavor, and it's also because they have the other flavor enhancing chemicals, the DSG, the disodium guanylate, and I think in the DSI, which is the disodium isononate, something like that. Yeah. Chemistry words, I've been taking chemistry in 25 years, so date me a little bit, but I mean, it's
all of them. Yeah, all of them do something different too. It's like it all just interacts with other ingredients differently. It hits your palate a little bit differently. Like like disodium, like DSI helps to bring out a little bit more sweetness in dishes, and so they all that umami, that fifth sense, that fifth taste is it's something to embrace. That's what we're trying to say. It's like you shouldn't be avoiding these things that are naturally occurring, but yeah, B, you can continue with that because I agree with you on those naturally.
The naturally occurring ones: the tomato paste, the shiitake mushroom powder, the soy sauce, the Worcestershire sauce. All of these things are going to give you great flavor. You don't have to use the powdered stuff. You don't have to use it, but recognize that the MSG is in these foods is what's giving that umami flavor.
Yeah.
Really, you don't. I don't use powdered MSG. I have powdered MSG, but I rarely use it because I say, well, I just use anchovy paste. Why not? You know what else has MSG? Hot sauce. You know why? Because it's fermented.
Right.
Fermented foods have MSG.
Yeah.
Kimchi. MSG.
Yep.
Yeah.
All these fermented things have MSG, and it's something to be embraced. Don't be afraid of it. It's great. It what makes your food taste awesome.
Yeah.
Right. This is the why behind these things. You taste something. Ooh, this was really good. Well, why was it really good?
Yep.
This is part of the reason right here.
Yep.
And that brings up another thing that we're going to talk is umami bombing something. You can an umami bomb is when you use a lot of different MSG containing ingredients, but you wisely choose these and you mix this all in one dish. It's good for doing competition foods. If you're doing competition food, you want to hit somebody with like an umami bomb. And it's now I did this for a chili competition at work that I won. But I made a smoked beef cheek chili that I umami bombed the crap out of. I had tomato paste, I had anchovy paste, I had hot sauce, I had soy sauce, I had Worcestershire sauce, I had all these things because I was only giving people one bite.
Yeah.
They only had to take one bite of this thing. There was nothing else than that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one bite of this chili, and I said, "Well, I'm gonna hit it with this umami, all natural. I didn't use the powdered stuff." But boy, I could tell you something. You taste it, you're like, if you know what you're tasting, you could taste the MSG punch in that. You're like, wow, that maybe a little bit on the border of too much, but it came out really good.
Yeah, but you had a relish to go with it too.
I did. Well, yeah, that's one of the things. I served it on a corn chip, and I served it with the chili, and then I made this it was a hot sweet chili oil red onion pickle with some jalapenos, and then I put some cheese. I had some cheese, and I put some Mexican crema on top of it.
Man, you made that old South Texas moose boosh on them boys, huh?
Well, look, man, I said, being in a competition, when you do a competition for food, you have to stand out. So I had to stand out. I had to be different from everybody else is going to make their grandpa's chili that he taught him. I said, I'm going to make something. I'm going to make it a little bit of a composed dish. I'm going to put a little bit more interesting flavors in there. I'm going to put some contrasting flavors. You know, the relish had really cut through that richness. I mean, that beef cheek chili was so rich, man. I mean, if you eat a bowl of that, dude, that would hit your stomach like a cinder block, man. I mean, I just a couple spoons of that, and I was like, oh, that's enough. That's what it was designed for. I would never cook something like that for somebody who are eating a whole bowl of it.
Right.
I'm glad you went with that option, because when he told me the idea for this, I was like, oh, yeah, you got to go get some wolf chili and, like, fix it up and, like, fool them people.
Wolf chili.
You see, that's what I would have done. Let's play.
No. I did it right. Yeah, you just gotta. Hey, look, you just gotta pack on. You just gotta pack the flavor on, man. I mean, that's it.
It's one of those things.
Don't be afraid of it. Umami bombing works. I mean, you got to watch the salt, because all these ingredients are real. Soy sauce is salty. Worcestershire sauce is salty. Anchovy paste is super salty.
Mm-hmm.
Tomato paste is not salty. And mushroom powder is not salty either. That's why I like mushroom powder. And mushroom powder is shiitake mushroom powder. If you don't like mushrooms, I don't like mushroom flavors. Shiitake mushrooms barely have any mushroom flavor. It's very, very indistinguishable in a dish.
Yeah, it's just deep in flavor and just more savory.
Shiitake mushrooms, when they're cooked, they have great texture, and they have a little bit of mushroom. They have a nice light mushroom flavor, but not heavy. And you know, like what I say, like MSG, these types of MSG ingredients really work well in stews, soups, sauces. You know, you're talking spaghetti sauces, pasta sauces, ragouts, gravies. Soup, any type of soup, gumbo. You know, if you want to add MSG to gumbo, probably would do pretty good.
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. We don't need people to Steve. It's already a tomato war going on. We don't want to put mushrooms in our gumbo.
Ooh, I didn't say we put what in gumbo? What did we just put in gumbo?
I didn't say put mushroom powder. I said you could put some MSG. Put whatever form you desire.
That's right.
Hey, a lot of your sausage has MSG in it too, so whatever.
See,
don't be afraid of it.
It's such a huge stigmatism around
MSG. It is.
It is undeserving. It's completely undeserving.
You'll see seasonings. They'll actually brand no MSG. Yeah. No MSG. Hey, one of KCP's favorite seasoning, Don's seasoning. Guess what? It has MSG and it works.
Yeah, a lot of those do have it. You know,
Full disclosure too, because we have a lot of friends that are in the seasoning business, and I know that you brand and market your seasoning as having no MSG, and I understand why you do it because of the negative stigma around MSG.
Right,
exactly.
We're not knocking you. We love y'all. We want y'all to sell as much as humanly possible.
Right,
and you don't have to put MSG in seasoning, but if you do put it in there, so what?
Yeah, the stigma is just too strong, especially with Cajun seasonings. You know, like there's just a big stigma with it.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. So let's take Shane Gaspard's seasoning. Let's take Rusty's seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take Mad seasoning, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we primarily using these things for? Now, you can put any of those seasonings I just named, you can put them on damn near anything. All right, let's get that straight.
Mm-hmm.
How? Use it on damn near anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are using it, what are you primarily using these things in?
Savory dishes.
Savory dishes. Probably making a gravy.
Yep.
Might be making some etouffee.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, might be making a gumbo. Might be
Mm-hmm.
making a jambalaya. What are some of the other things that go in these dishes? Things that have naturally occurring MSG.
Exactly.
Correct.
I got beans, potatoes, tomatoes, hog, you name it.
Correct.
Exactly.
A lot of people love to use Worcestershire sauce.
You're still putting MSG in your dishes. I'm just saying. That's all we're just trying to say.
Yeah,
So,
that's all we just.
Why does Worcestershire sauce make your food better? MSG from the anchovies in it is made with anchovies.
Yep, it's true. Let me just put this out there. So by not adding, is MSG like adding it to a seasoning? Is that just using a cheaper product?
No, and absolutely not. MSG is not. I don't think MSG is. It's not super expensive, but it's not going to be cheap. It's not cheap like salt.
MSG is so. If we're talking umami flavors, the concentrated forms, if you're using the powdered form of MSG, DSG, DSI, MSG is going to be your least expensive portion of umami, right? I think DSG is your disodium guanylate is probably the most expensive.
They're pretty expensive, yeah.
Both of those, the DSI and the DSG, are going to be a little bit more, but you need way less of those.
Yeah,
those
less than you would use of MSG.
Gotcha. Those are mainly for industrial food production. Very. I think there's actually a limit on how much you can use of those. So I don't think they're really readily commercially available for residential use. Just it's strictly commercial use items mostly.
Yeah, you can. I think you can find them online in concentrated versions, but
they are expensive.
They're expensive. You're gonna pay for them. But there's seasoning. If you want them, there's seasonings out there that have them. I have a couple, but
then I bet those seasonings are a little bit more expensive than you would expect.
Oh yeah,
most people.
Yes. You're gonna.
But these things, like you don't have to be afraid of these things, guys. It's good stuff. It's not going to kill you. It's a naturally occurring thing. It's found in a bunch of different foods and varying amounts of concentrations.
So
nothing wrong with it. There's no scientific evidence that there's anything wrong with it. You can
New
England. I think it was John Hopkins. I think studied that, and of course, there's all kind of people say, "Oh, I don't trust anything medical." Well, whatever, dude. I'm gonna trust the guys with the PhDs and the MDs.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if someone says they have like an allergy to MSG, I'm wondering if it's something else within a dish that they're thinking they're allergic to that they think is MSG.
If somebody says they can't have MSG and they look at foods and they have MSG that makes them feel bad, and that's the only thing they can isolate, hey, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't eat it.
So recently, I have a friend that has been having some vertigo issues, and her doctor told her to lay off the MSG. But she eats like ramen noodles like for breakfast every day.
Golly,
she's Vietnamese.
So yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think. And my heart goes out to people that really have issues with certain ingredients because a lot of times what they'll do is because these allergy tests at the doctor, let me tell you,
brutal.
Take it with a grain of salt or a grain of MSG, but they're not accurate. they're not. I've spoken with so many people over the past few weeks that have had allergy tests and they're just not coming back conclusive with what they're actually allergic to.
Oh yeah.
It's just weird. But my heart goes out to people that are trying to isolate themselves. Like they're trying to isolate certain things that they eat to figure out what's actually causing issues. Right. And I think, could MSG be one of those things? Maybe so. I think any ingredient in the world could be a trigger for something in your body that your body just doesn't really gel with.
Right.
But
I mean, some people
blanket
are allergic.
statement that MSG is just going to like screw you up is just it's not a intelligent thing to say. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, some people are allergic to like chili peppers. I mean, I was like, oh man, that is a rough allergy to deal with, man. That is hard.
Yeah.
You gotta avoid. I mean, like, man, you gotta avoid basically every freaking seasoning out there. Blend seasoning, paprika, that's a chili powder.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, that's tough, man. I feel for people. If you, but like I say, if you've isolated MSG and you find that it doesn't react well with you, then by all means, don't eat it. Don't eat it at all.
So I'm actually
let's say this is not a problem for the vast majority of people.
Right. Yeah. I'm actually cooking for our in-person fantasy football draft this weekend. And I do that every year. But one of the guys in our fantasy football league is pretty much allergic to a lot of different things. Like his body just doesn't like anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to keep things real plain. So like the brisket that I cook, I make sure I don't put any MSG on it. It's just like straight salt, pepper type of brisket, which is, delicious. Salt, pepper, garlic brisket is phenomenal backyard brisket. But I can't really, punch those flavors like I like to do for my friends and stuff. But he pretty much gets his own rack of ribs because I can't really put anything on those. So there are extenuating circumstances where you have to isolate certain things, and I think MSG could absolutely be one of those things. But for the most part, just understand that MSG isn't a harmful product. It is just a flavor enhancer.
Right.
It's going to make things tastier, meatier, saltier, savorier, or whatever you want to say.
And it's like any ingredient. Like, it's like what can be harmless to some people can be harmful to others. And I'm not discounting that it could be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, don't think because you feel bad after the Chinese buffet is because there was a tiny bit of MSG, or was it the buttload of sugar, salt, fat, and carbs in that meal that made you feel bad.
Yeah.
Hashtag greedy.
Hashtag you ate too much.
Big back.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to look at these things. We got to look at the man in the mirror and say, okay, what just happened here? I just ate, the Chinese buffets, when you take that food out, they make you weigh it. You got to pay what they weigh,
Oh yeah.
You gotta,
or you got to close the lid.
They should have that sign up. You got to pay what they weigh, baby. You got to close that lid and pay what they weigh. Y'all know y'all took 2.5 pounds of food out there on that plate. And that was for you. That wasn't for nobody else but you.
Better not be that boiled shrimp in that container either.
Now don't you blame that on MSG. Don't you do it.
No.
You took 2.5. You took 2.78 pounds out of that restaurant, and you ate all of it. You ate every damn shrimp in there.
Yeah, and hey, shrimp has MSG too.
Don't waste your time putting boiled crawfish in that thing. You only getting a little piece of that.
Oh yeah,
that's wasteful.
Yeah,
man. I went to a Chinese buffet one time. It was me and my wife, and we went sit down at a Chinese buffet one night, and you know how they break out the seafood at night.
Oh yeah.
So the buffet is a little bit more. So they got the shrimp and this particular place had crawfish on the. Man, some dudes say, I'm about to hurt him. During the time I was there, he had at least 5 plates.
Oh.
He said, I'm going to hurt him. He said, I'm not going to go and get boiled crawfish high right now. I'm just going to go to the Chinese buffet and I'm going
Dude, that's funny.
I'm going to hit him in the pockets, he said.
That
1 plate, 2 plates, 3 plates, 4.
That reminds me of an episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes to a seafood buffet, and as soon as he gets there, he goes up to the buffet and like, no, sir, you can't take the whole steam tray. And he just takes the whole steam tray.
Look, I'm sure some people have tried that, okay? I wouldn't put it past some people.
Man, that's another nice moment too. Look, I'm really big back today. I'm on my fat boy shit today because y'all done got me talking about Chinese buffets. Man, when they bring out that fresh tray, when you're at the buffet and you're trying to figure out what you want to put on that plate, and then all of a sudden she come behind you and she take that tray out and she put that fresh tray in there and she fluff that rice. Oh Lord.
My favorite was always those damn green beans.
At Golden Walk, that place Golden Walk where we used to go, they were really good. They were really good.
Oh my gosh, those green beans were so good.
I bet they had a little MSG in them too.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
I'd better check on it.
They were in the back and they were coating each one of them beans and MSG.
It was dunking.
Oh yeah, we finna fix them tonight. They ain't gonna come back for a while.
They're gonna be talking about them green beans tomorrow morning.
Oh,
that was good.
Yep. Now all I want is like beef and mushroom, like beef and barley.
Yeah, beef and mushrooms are mushrooms really.
I'm craving that hard now.
Anything with mushrooms. You do chicken and mushrooms, pork and mushrooms, beef and mushrooms. Anything with mushrooms.
Beef and barley soup. Oh my god.
Yeah, I like beef and barley soup.
Man, you know what I could go for right now is a big old slice of like some beef pie, like some beef what you call it? Like some beef stew pie or whatever, like the beef pot pie.
Shepherd's pie?
There you go.
Is it
they got beef in there, or is that what's shepherd pie?
Shepherd's pie is traditionally lamb, but cottage pie is beef. But
does it have potatoes on it, or is it in a crust?
It's in a crust.
That's that beef and kidney pie. I think that's what they call that. It's like a little. It's like a high pie, like high sides, but it's little around. Yeah. Yeah,
give me a little slice of that right there. Good boy turned Barry White over here. Darling, I
can't get enough of your pie, baby.
Can't get enough of your pie, baby. That might be something else.
Stirring the pot after dark.
Where Rusty when you need him?
Right.
Lord.
Oh my goodness. So what else is there to talk about MSG?
Use it. Natural corn, natural forms are the powdered stuff. Hey, it amps up your food. It really does. Like I say, I'm not discounting people's problems with it. If you have a problem with it, fine, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of people, guys, you don't have to worry about MSG. It's a naturally occurring product. It's there to make your food taste better. You don't have to go out and buy the powdered stuff. You can go buy some anchovy paste, some tomato paste, whatever you want. Nat soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, fish sauce, all this stuff has MSG and makes your food taste great.
Absolutely. You can even make you a really good stock.
Oh,
make you a good stock. Look, we just had a conversation, our last episode, talking about the Trinity. Throw you some Trinity in there and throw you some other things that just make you, just a good base stock.
Oh,
and use that.
A good
just
demi-glace.
Extract your own MSG out of there.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of the concentrated powder, make your own MSG punch.
Absolutely.
And see how you like it. Try it out.
Yeah. Well, demi-glace would definitely fall into that category, right?
What, MSG?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, use tomato paste to make. There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, beef has MSG in it too.
Beef.
So meat has MSG. So and when you brown stuff like that, it really intensifies it. So
all the onions and everything.
Carrots,
Yep.
Carrots have MSG.
There you go.
Yep. So look, mirepoix.
Yep. Demi-glace is an umami bomb, basically.
It is
in Jello form.
You haven't made it. You need to make it.
Yeah. You want to punch up your gumbo? There you go.
You want to punch up. You want to punch up any. If you're making anything, you want to punch up any of your foods. Homemade stock is just the way to go, guys. And it's so cheap. I'm lucky to live in Houston, where I can buy chicken and beef like chicken backs and things that they trim off chickens. I can buy that really cheap for like 99 cents a pound. I don't need meat to make I don't need a lot of meat to make a stock, so I need bone. So I'm able to buy chicken parts, chicken backs, chicken ribs, all that stuff that they freshly butcher for real cheap. So I'm able to make really good stocks for not a lot of money, way cheaper than you would ever pay at a store. And it's way better.
Way better.
Yeah,
Everything that's going in there,
Yep.
That's one thing I really like about that area is, just being able to find those different types of ingredients for really cheap. You gotta know places, and then you gotta go to those places down here because you can get them, but you gotta go try to find your little slaughter shop or something like that to where you can get some ingredients that you can make a good stock with, or but.
Yeah, a lot of those places too around here, like halal, where it's specialty butchery kind of thing, and
halal,
it's just better.
Chicken.
It's just better.
Halal chicken is always very, very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fresh. It's very, very fresh. It's usually less than 24 hours old.
Yeah.
So it's very freshly butchered.
Yeah, if any of y'all are in the Houston area or traveling here, visiting, you have to try this place out, Phoenicia Specialty Foods on Westheimer. It's like a giant Mediterranean, Greek, Middle Eastern place. They make their own pita. It comes down on conveyor belts all puffed up from the ceiling, like angels are upstairs making this pita bread.
Yeah,
it smells amazing in this place.
Celestial pita bread.
Oh yes.
Hey, and they sell.
Man, that place is awesome.
And they sell giant jars of anchovy paste.
They do.
I actually went through a whole giant jar. I didn't think I would be able to do that, but I did. There's actually a running joke amongst my friends that one of my friends said, "Oh, I hate anchovy paste. I can taste it, and when people cook with it, I'm like, oh, you can, huh?" That's been like a 5-year experiment where I've been throwing anchovy paste in damn near everything that he eats when he comes to my house, just to see if he can taste it. He hasn't detected it yet, guys.
Yeah. No.
Oh man, that curry ketchup that I make. Oh, he loves that stuff. And there's not a little bit of anchovy paste in there. There's a lot. I mean, because ketchup is super sweet, so I can really pack in the anchovies on that one. I'm like,
it's so good.
Oh, hey, guess what, guys? Ketchup that has MSG in it too.
Oh yeah.
The
more things we're gonna come up with that has
why
MSG
you like that ketchup so much? It has MSG.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about the taste of ketchup and what it does for things.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
Yep.
So MSG, if you have problems with it, don't eat it. If you've never had a problem with it, you probably never will. It's fine. It's a great ingredient. Amps up the flavors of a lot of dishes. It's naturally occurring. You don't even have to use the powdered form of it. You can use natural forms of it. Really bump up the flavor of your food.
I agree.
That's it.
Just don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid of it.
So
be afraid of sheet pan recipes that you see on Facebook. Be afraid of that.
Yes. Very afraid.
See Stirring the Pot After Dark for that. Because I've been seeing these things, guys, and a man has to take a moral stance against something, and this is I'm willing to defend this hill and die on it. Don't make that trash because it's trash.
Like, subscribe, comment, share.
And
thank you all. Oh, before we get to your part, KCP, let me go ahead and say this. I know y'all probably want to piggyback off me, but thank you to all of our subscribers. We had a goal to get to 1,000 subscribers by our anniversary date. So we have been doing this for 1 year, y'all.
Yeah.
We haven't been making this podcast for a year now, and we blew past 1,000 subscribers this past week with the Trinity episode. So if you have not seen it, go watch that.
Yeah.
We are just under 1,700 subscribers right now. So
1.65.
Thank you.
Thank you guys all for your support and love.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You guys are the reason we keep doing this. So
absolutely. So with that being said, here's my little end quote of the night. If you are a chef, no matter how good of a chef you are, it's not good cooking for yourself. The joy is in cooking for others.
Facts plus tax.
100% agree.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys next time. And until then, keep stirring that pot.
We out.
Hashtag greedy. Beans, greens, tomatoes, potatoes, lamb, ram. You name it.
Good night.
Good night.
Peace.